Frisco Council Member Bill Woodard, thank you so much. We appreciate it. So you are leading the charge, so to speak, against Props A and B. Why is it important for you to do that, and why do you think it's wrong for the city?
So yeah, I am part of a group, Safety First Frisco, that is leading the charge on the Vote No campaign for this. And the short reason is Frisco's built an incredible fire department and really first responders at all, fire and police, over the last 30 plus years. And we haven't needed collective bargaining or civil service to do that. The city's very forward thinking in its personnel policies. We're very forward thinking in the way that we develop our personnel, and there's just not a need for these items right now.
So why do you think this has come up as an issue?
There's a lot of reasons why it could come up. I think it had a lot to do with prior leadership of the fire department. I think over the last couple of years, what I've learned about that leadership that's no longer there, that there were some challenges that may have enticed some of the union members to want to do this. The city's made changes in that regard, though, in a lot of different ways, not only with the new fire chief, but the way the new fire chief operates and the way that he's working with the employees. So it's one of these situations that Frisco's really good about identifying when there's a challenge and solving for that.
What is your biggest concern about Prop A, which is civil service?
So it takes away the ability of management to manage employees. It sets up a strict set of rules that were developed in the 1940s, and it forces you to abide by them. Right now, we have all of the modern day employment policies that any good corporation or any good entity should have in place. Civil service wipes those out for that department, and it puts in place a set of rules that cannot be deviated from. So it takes the ability from management away to manage the employees, and quite frankly, it protects employees that may not be performing to their best.
And what is your biggest concern as it relates to Prop B, which is the collective bargaining?
Well, again, there's it forces mandates on the city and the citizens.
How so?
If the union comes in and they demand something, and the city says, we can't afford that, we can't fit that in our budget, whatever the issue might be, that goes to arbitration. Then you've got a third-party arbiter who's not going to live in the city of Frisco. He's not going to know anything about the city of Frisco, what we've built, or the way we operate. He's going to make a decision, and that decision is binding on everybody at that point. That gives council two choices. If it doesn't fit in the budget, then they either have to raise the taxes or they have to start cutting services in other departments. So it removes the flexibility the city has to manage its own departments. It removes the ability of the residents to come to their elected city council and their city manager and say, hey, we want to do something different, or we need to go a different direction. Well, now you're bound by a contract. It would also remove the ability to be forward-thinking and flexible in operations. Frisco, for instance, just got awarded the ability to participate in a new program that's going to monitor how incident response rates and things of that sort. We're the only city in the entire nation our size that was picked for that, and there was only 6 cities total. That's because of the way we do things and how forward-thinking we are. With civil service and collective bargaining, we might not be able to do that. It might be taken away from us because those rules, that contract, may prevent us from enabling us to be flexible in those areas.
On your website, you said that basically it would be union members from outside of Frisco who are knocking on doors, and you use the term half-truths and strong-arm strategies. What do you mean by that?
Well, we know for a fact that it was union members from outside Frisco. We've looked at the union's finance reports that are available on the Texas Ethics Commission website, and you can see the addresses of everybody that they paid to come knock on doors. We've had residents ask people, do you work here? Do you live here? And the answers were no. There were people that were accosted at grocery stores to sign the petitions last summer, and they asked, do you live here and do you work here? And the answers were no. The union president himself said in a video that they're going to be bringing in union members from all over the state to help man the polls and to knock on doors. So it's out there. It's in the public realm. They've publicly stated it, that they plan on bringing members from other areas
on the website it also says a fire union makes its money by stealing it away from the local taxpayer, and that for them, if they win, it would be like winning the lottery.
Right. Taxpayers ultimately fund those salaries, so they're funding those unions already. And in the case of public sector unions, what you end up with is you end up with a union endorsing a candidate. If that candidate wins, then that candidate is the one that's ultimately signing off on those union contracts. So now you've got two entities supposedly bargaining with each other with taxpayer funds, and there's nobody looking out for the taxpayer. Because that elected official wants that union endorsement the next time they run. That union wants that elected official up there to approve their contracts. So there's nobody looking out for the taxpayer in that situation.
But the word stealing suggests that they're, that's a strong word, no?
It is a strong word, but I mean, we've already seen bully tactics from the union.
And you talked about endorsements, and when I spoke with the Frisco Firefighters Association president, he said, you and the mayor and other council members are always proud to point out that they've been endorsed by the Frisco Firefighters Association. And they felt like it's hypocritical that you love the endorsement but don't support them. How do you respond to that?
So when I first ran in 2016, I was asked, do I support collective bargaining in civil service? I said, you know what, guys, I don't know. I'm not informed enough. That was 8 years ago now. So I got educated on it. When I ran in 2019, I got asked the same question, and I told them flat out, no, I don't support either of these. In both years, they chose to endorse me anyway. In 22, I didn't ask for their endorsement when I was up for re-election.
And as far as the big concern that you've discussed, it sounds like you're worried that this is going to be a budget buster for the city.
It very well could be.
And is that in the sense of, because when I asked Mr. Sapp about, what is it pay? He said, but it's not pay for us, it's staffing levels. They want more staffing. They say it's inadequate.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
It's not inadequate. We have an ISO 1 rating. Our fire department is certified by the National Accrediting Agency. We're in the top 1% of fire departments nationwide. If we were understaffed, we wouldn't have those accreditations. What they're talking about is putting a fourth man on every fire truck that we have. And right now, the numbers show that that's not necessary. First of all, the standards that they will reference start out by saying you need 4 on a truck, but then it says, unless you send multiple apparatus to the same event at the same time and they're managed by one person. Well, that's what we do. If we have a fire, we send 2 trucks immediately and then all of the other personnel, because ultimately we probably need 15 to 20 people to fight that fire. So we're sending multiple vehicles anyway. So we do meet those standards every day without fail.
What about response times?
So response times admittedly have ticked up a little bit over the last couple of years, but adding additional personnel to trucks doesn't make those trucks drive faster. What fixes response times is adding new fire stations. Fire Station 10 is under construction right now. It'll open about a year. Fire Station 11 is in design, and it'll open in about 3 years, assuming that we don't have a budget issue come up from, say, this passing and the union demanding something that we have to pay for that could delay Fire 11.
So you think the addition of fire stations, which obviously you'll need to hire to staff those, right?
Exactly.
You're saying that is the solution to the response times?
Absolutely, because you put the equipment and the personnel closer to where it needs to be when a call comes in. That's what gets you to an incident faster, not adding additional people to an existing fire station.
I noticed that the Frisco Chamber of Commerce and some other entities have sided with being against Props A and Prop B. How helpful do you think that is for your argument?
I believe it's extremely helpful. The Chamber of Commerce is local business owners. They are as vested or more so than just about anybody else. Most of those business owners are not only business owners in Frisco, but they're residents as well. So they're informed, they pay attention, they know what it's like to run a business and what the negative impacts of collective bargaining could be on the city.
Is there anything else that you would like to say that I haven't asked you about as it relates to this issue?
You know, Frisco's a target right now. We're the largest city in the state of Texas without civil service and collective bargaining in some form or fashion. So I think that's why, you know, we're being targeted right now, and we're growing to be a bigger city, but Frisco doesn't need the big city problems that Union brings. We have done a phenomenal job managing our growth and putting together absolutely top-notch departments across the board, without exception. And our results and our awards and whatnot prove that on a day in, day out, year by year basis from our staff. And I'm extremely proud of all of them for the incredible work they put in. These two issues, they simply put constraints in place that aren't necessary to continue that kind of good work that our staff has done.
Bill Woodard, Frisco City Council Member, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.